Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is the Breakfast Bankroll for Wednesday, January 12th, 2022. Hump Day, as they call it, as we get closer and closer to Wild Card Weekend. But before then, we got plenty of stuff to talk about. We have some NBA, some NHL, some college hoops. So from Cape Cod to Cancun, from Tampa to Taipei, from Vegas to the Vatican, ECSI has you covered. From the opening bell, the overnight openers, to today's movers and shakers. So without further ado, my co-host from the Palm Tree State himself, the one, the only, Mr. Scott E. Webb. Scotty, my brother, what is happening?
Morning, Jeff. And not that you ever take a day off, but man, yesterday seemed like a day off with all the bad boards and the different things going on. I didn't make any bets or anything, but I was, doesn't mean I don't run numbers and don't check things and looking at stuff. And then, holy cow, the numbers are getting pretty good on this NBA stuff. So I got a couple of NBA plays today, so that'll be good.
A quick shout out to our man, Mr. Colton from the Windy City, checking in bright and early this morning. And tomorrow's at 10 a.m. we will have Colton on. He will come and be firing some NCAA hoops. He is known as the mid-major king. And I'm telling you, he just spits fire. He's got more stats than ESPN and Fox combined. And we are so blessed and honored to have him aboard. And then Friday, we're going to bring his partner on, Mr. Riley Magnuson, talking some cheesehead football and probably some Big Ten basketball. So we can't wait. Colton, good morning to you. Can't wait to see you guys' show in about 30 minutes. So, you talked about the board, Scott, and I tell you, the hardest part for me is the spaghetti strainer, because we talk about the square peg and we talk about the round hole. We talk about to dive in, to not to dive in. And so yesterday was a perfect example where there was a big board in college hoops. And I'm going to be the first one to tell you, if ECSI could ever win a close game, 2 minutes to go down a bucket, 30 seconds to go down a point, we'd be dangerous. We just have not been able to close those. But on hockey, we are on one of these 14-4 heaters, and we're talking a lot of these are puck line, big dogs, all plus money. And yesterday we released 2 college hoop games. Texas goes box to wire, and Miami of Ohio, which had a huge reverse line movement and a flip, loses. They were down 1 or 2 with a minute to go and we couldn't close. And yet I had 4 hockey games I left on the desk. And of course, the 4 hockey games I left on the desk went 4-0. We had the Blackhawks, we had the Canadians, we had the Predators plus 124. They went in overtime against Colorado. And we had the Penguins plus 160, 158 on the puck line, and they went 4-1. So instead of losing some juice for the night, could have sprinkled in 1 or 2 hockey games, and we came off the 3-0 Monday. So when we come off a big Monday and we win on Tuesday, our winning week percentage is around 80 plus percent. We call it Envelope Monday. So shame on me maybe for not loosening the strings a little and at least getting 1 or 2 of those hockey games out, because you win 3.5 units on Monday, you release 4 games, you go 0-4. Now all of a sudden, you're back to ground zero on Wednesday. I know it's bankroll management, I know it's risk management and all that good stuff, but man, what a kick in the nuts last night.
Yeah, I think there's 2 things there. I think one, if you go into a day and you have in mind a concept of, well, I can't play more than 2 games on this or 3 games on that, you're going to leave a lot of stuff on the table. And so I always look at it like, if I have an edge, I have to have a minimum edge before I really want to play a game, and then that's what I look for, is that minimum edge, and then I play the games. And then if there's 5 games that come out that day, then holy shit, there's 5 games that come out that day. It is what it is. I'm not going to leave nothing on the table. Now, having said that, I use a different strategy, and that's just because of the way I do my games versus the way you do yours. My games come out with the scores and spreads, and I'm doing numbers and replicate a gameplay. So I'll see a game that is, I don't know. Let's just use, so it's just because I'm thinking about it. We'll just say Minnesota plays New Orleans in a basketball game, and my numbers come out, and the replication of the game comes out, and they're going to win by 15 points. And the spread says they're going to win by 6. But that's the highest outlier of the day, meaning that, it's for whatever reason, it sticks out and it says, holy shit, they're going to kill the shit out of this team. Well, I already know that I got to scratch that game. So what I do is I go and I scratch the highest outlier. I scratch the highest outlier to the other side. And then I start looking at the games in between and then make my selections based off of those. The reason I do that is because something's wrong. The betting market is smarter than my model on those outlier games. So there's no reason for me to even look at them. So I just scratch that one and scratch the other one and go, okay, it's great. So, yesterday I just threw a blurb out there about the NBA and said it was a tough board, and I think you should bet on Toronto, right? And I think they were getting, I don't remember, was it 4.5? I think they covered because they won by 4.
They did close at 4.5. They did cover by the hook.
Yeah. So, but it's just weird stuff, and so I have learned that number one, if you got 5 plays, you play all 5, and if you got 3 plays, you play all 3. If you got none, you play none. You don't force one. But at the same time, I have to use the spaghetti strainer in a little different way, probably, than what you're looking at.
Yeah, and I always talk about the board when, in other words, we keep the spreadsheets going from Don Best Sports Insight pregame. We keep them rolling, okay? So 24/7, 365. So when I take the final snapshot, and let's say I'm going to shut her down around 1 a.m. I'm going to go try to get a cat nap, and then I'm up at 6:30. I take another look, and then you see the actual movement early in the morning. When I get that feeling of the I'm taking all my notes. I'm going to tell you, I didn't have that feeling on yesterday's board or the pucks. It was just constant work, constant grind, seeing the movement, like that Toronto Vegas game. There was a lot of flip-flopping going back around. There was a little late money coming in on Vegas. Then the last move was on Toronto. And again, I think that game closed 4-3. The Predators had a lead, and next thing you know, that goes to overtime. Penguins was box to wire. Blackhawks box to wire. But the point of the matter is, they weren't slam dunks, and it's almost like you're kind of kicking yourself, meaning you have them on the desk, you're following them to see, and it's almost like you're rooting against yourself because, like today, 4-0, if you released them, you could have lost the overtime game. You could have lost another game. It would have been 2-2. You lost you. So kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Listen, we're still up, 2.5, 2 3/4 units going into today. I'm not whining or nothing. I'm just trying to explain to everyone out here what we go through. And it's nonstop grinding. It's nonstop numbers. And our strongest game on the board was the flip on Miami of Ohio. And they were minus 125 to 128 in juice. money line, and they lose, and we get it back with Texas going box to wire. But part of the business, Scotty, and as you said, you know, you got the thought process. Hey, this is real money. This isn't, Twitter money, monopoly money, where, hey guys, I got 15 games today, and I just went 12-3. Follow me on this app, and I'll show you. I mean, that's play money. This is real money.
Well, for us, Jeff, and I think that I do this, and I'm assuming you do this. I don't think we ever talked about it before, but yes, it's real money. And if I give out a play, I've bet it. I mean, that's this. I mean, I have wagered the game. Now, having said that, I am also very cognizant that people around these channels are also playing what I'm playing. So when I give something out, I don't know how much they're wagering. I know how much I am. But I always take the approach that if I'm giving out a play, I'm going to assume that person's betting $2,000 on that game. And the reason I'm going to take that approach is because if I say something through here, I damn well mean it. And I mean that if you're going to put $2,000 on the game, I'm okay with it, or I wouldn't say it. And that's kind of the idea here of what we do versus what somebody else does in their little childish stuff that they put their stuff through. And there's responsibility of other people's money. And I take that very seriously. And the statements that I make, sometimes I try to be a little bit funny, but the truth of the matter is, if I give out a play, I've bet it myself with the idea that I want to win that game, and also with the idea that I want that $2,000 play to win that game.
100% agree. And we have talked at length, and this is the start of our 7th full year on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, IG, now Twitch, YouTube, you name it, potentially live stream. And actually, I had a good conversation today with my local guy, and he thinks full systems go, and he'll be over early next week to get the Twitch station going. We go StreamYard, to all the platforms, but actually going live and getting that set up. So Colton Riley talking the line, and Andrew McGinnis, Scott, myself, and a few others, get ready. We're going to be, that's the next step. And we are in talks with some networks and stuff of starting our own network, which we've talked about behind the scenes. And I'm telling everyone out here in TV land and social media land, get ready. ECSI and a bunch of other people are ready to make this next step. And we're excited for that. Quick couple seconds. Sounds like Thursday, MLB, hoping to talk. You talked last week or the week before about maybe 152 games, maybe, spring training might be pushed back a week or whatever. I did see something on social media today, which was kind of surprising, is these guys that are still under contract, obviously, are getting drug tested. So even though, they are locked out, they still are going through certain protocols. What do you gut feeling, thoughts about the talks? Is it a bunch of malarkey PR, or are we going to eventually start to get something done here?
Well, I think that this week is, I don't want to call it meaningless because that's not true. That I think this thing started 42 days ago, 43 days ago. I think it was December the 2nd was the date. And they haven't spoken since then. They have not had one contract negotiation. They have not had anything since that day. So if you think about it, this Thursday, when they actually go sit down at the table again, it's going to be, I think they have a general basis and understanding of what each side wants, and I can get into that a little bit. But what is good is that the negotiations are back on the table, and they're actually going to have something to talk about. Now, where that leads and how that goes and what the temperature in the room is going to end up being is probably the next level of where we have to go with this in terms of how long this is going to take. The truth of the matter is the players want things that the owners aren't going to give them. And here's what they want. The players want to be able to get the younger players paid faster. And they want them to have free agency faster. So if you think about it, then that frees up some quote monies, I guess, for the middle guys, right? The guys that they're missing out on getting paid. So the owners are sitting here going, you can't have both. You can't have the young guys get paid right out of the box, because we just did that years ago and nobody liked that. And then you can't go tell me that those guys are going to go get free agency real fast either. So they're trying to push up the arbitration days so that they can get that money faster, that kind of stuff. And where the big dilemma is going to be is the one side's going to have to give here, where maybe they give a little on something and don't give away everything, or maybe there's a bargaining chip that they use to get something. That's going to be the fight. The fight's going to be over how fast they can get guys paid, and how fast they can get them out into free agency to get guys paid. And then they go from there. And then that's just going to be the basis of once that basis is set, I don't think there's going to be any issues with the roadblocks, and then they'll get through this thing. But until they get through that, I don't think they're going to have any leg to stand on.
And it's kind of, I go back year to year to year, and some of these off seasons, and I've talked about this till I'm blue in the face. I used to love the hot stove, the December, where the meetings were, and I'd be on edge, getting ready. All right, who's getting signed? And that was it. Where's he going? And that would get us to Christmas, and the last few years, there's just no such thing, because the big name guys, they're holding back. They're waiting for the dominoes to go. It's almost like these pieces are Legos, and they got to say, okay, I can't go after Scott Webb until Colton Soroka is signed. And when he is signed, then we'll know better where Scotty fits into place. I mean, go back a few years ago. What was it? Harper, Machado, and was it Mookie?
No, because he got traded.
No, he got traded, but I thought there was going to be three. I know it was Harper, Machado, and someone else, I thought, in that year.
There was. Maybe it was a pitcher. I can't remember.
Okay. So the thoughts here now are what some of the younger guys are doing, Tatis and a few others, is they're taking your guy in Tampa. They're taking the 10-year deal. They're getting their 200, 225. Hey, listen, I played all the way up to get to this spot. Give me my 200, 225 now. Let my team make me money with that. And at some point down the line, hey, I'm 28, I'm 29, I'll get that next contract, because what's happening is, they own you for 4, 5, 6 years. And then, you get that one shot at the big ticket, 25, 26, 27, when you're in your prime. And it's those 30-year-olds, guys, and especially the pitchers, the 31, 32-year-olds that are left in limbo. And a couple of years back, there was 100 guys in free agency still not signed, and everyone was reporting to spring training.
Well, I kind of look at this not in favor of the players. So that part of it. So the reason I do that is I'm convinced that if I'm a business owner, I want to pay for what you're going to do for me today and what you're going to do for me tomorrow. I don't want to pay for what you did for some other team 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 8 years ago. And then the value of what you're providing to me today is not the value of what you provided to that team. So I get all of that. And I don't think that's going to change that part of it. I don't think that's going to change at all. I think that this is becoming, and I love it, by the way, a younger sport where you're getting the guys out there quicker and faster, and you don't have the guys hanging around because of PEDs or whatever it was that made them, perform at different levels when they were 40 years old. You've got quicker, faster, younger, more athletic players playing the game today, way more so than have ever played the game. And I just look. I saw a thing on social media. It was a picture, and it was Babe Ruth, and he was wearing a nice Yankees sweater. And I looked at that, and I go, that was the major baseball player back then. And then if you matched him up and you put him against a Ronald Acuna today, what the hell? Those guys wouldn't even stand a chance to look or act or be athletic or any of that stuff. And the velocity and the movement of the ball today versus the way it was back then, it's two different games, and it's two different sets of superstars. And in baseball, we always compare it to the lore of the older guy and the guy that was around forever. And I get all of that, and it's the history and all of that. I love all of that. Having said that, I love all of that. I really like and really enjoy watching the young guys come up and play, because they bring something special to the game that the game hasn't had. They have this useful talent, and those guys are big and strong and fast and throw hard, and they've learned things and how to develop their bodies that I never, ever even imagined was possible when I played. I mean, holy crap, these guys are unbelievable.
Two things here, and then we'll get into some stuff for today. It's funny you brought up Acuna's name, because, I asked you yesterday, what Georgia had in mind, and Georgia and the Braves, both won national championships in the World Series, obviously. But I said this sarcastically when it happened, but how would you like to be the Braves GM and the owner, and you win the World Series, and Acuna was out for half the season? You're like, oh my God, I just paid this guy how much money? And look, we won it without him. But I love Ronald. Go ahead.
Think about that team and their lineup in their outfield. And if there is a National League DH, they're all set. That team's all set. They got their outfield. Plus, they can put anybody in. They can put what's his name? It begins with an O, and his last name got hurt. Who came over from the Cardinals in the Miami Marlins? Ozuna and Acuna. I get just like whatever, man. So you got to get that guy could be their DH, and then holy crap, they got a hell of a lineup. So, and then they get their pitchers healthy, and then that puts them in a spot where they're not going to be an easy out for anybody.
No, make sure they re-sign Freeman there. And then speaking of your Rays, I mean, how they put together their pitching staff in their bullpen last year. Each individual pitcher had a different arm slot, and it's just crazy where the game has gone, and it's just mind-blowing. But I'm going to pull up today's schedule. Actually, what I'm going to do quickly here, let me get over here. I'm just going to I just wanted to go over some quick numbers, see if there was any movement on the NFL games. Raiders, Bengals, down to 5.5. So there was actually a half-point move from 6.5. If you guys saw 5 at your book and it's now 5.5, I'm actually showing from the offshore account 6s that has gone to 5.5. So we'll be tracking that one. By the way, the Patriot-Buffalo game, it is going to be part of bone chills. I don't know if it's going to be a winter wonderland. I know it is going to be freezing there, and we'll see what the wind is. Last game, the Patriots threw it twice because of 40, 50-mile-an-hour winds. We'll keep an eye on the weather there. Tampa Bay, there is a 9 at William Hill, 8.5s across the board. Dallas holding steady at 3, some juice now at the win at -115 and the Nugget -20. So actually you might see a 3 and a hook by kickoff there. The Chiefs 12.5. There were 13, so maybe they are buying in the Big Ben and his swan song there. And the Rams flat 4s with 49 and a hooks there. So anything jump off the page while I bring up the today's menu, Scott?
Yeah, I don't know if you're looking at bet percentages or cash or anything like that yet, but because that's all going to change a little bit. But that Bengals game is interesting that the line's down to 5.5 because pregame showing that 69% of the money's coming in on the Bengals. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And I also thought it was kind of interesting knowing what we're talking about with the weather in that game in Buffalo. The total is 44.5, which is not down from anywhere. So I don't I think that people hear us talk or people like us talk at the beginning part of a week, and then we start talking about the weather, and then people start jumping on that, and then one of these days, maybe it's a Thursday, that's when they all jump in on the total and they go down for the under, and then all of a sudden you wake up Friday morning and it's 41 or something.
And it's funny. I'll correlate Georgia Bama Part 2, where again Bama puts up 40 in the SEC title game. Everyone flocks to the over, thinking there are going to be a ton of points in game 2, and there wasn't. Here, this is round 3 between these two, and everyone's got this weather report. And so the initial thought process, Vegas is telling you 24-20 Bills. Patriots 1-3 their last 4 games, offensively challenged other than the 50 burger against the Jags. I think you and I could have scored against the Jags that week. But the fact of the matter is, with this weather report, it's not dropping down to 41.5, 42.5. So maybe both offenses will find a way to get it going. They know each other inside and out. Will be interesting there. So from our friends at wagertalk.com, free odds. And we'll have Andrew on later this afternoon at the midday market report from Wager Talk and McGinnis Picks. Here's the board, Scott. You had said in behind the scenes chat that you had a couple games in the NBA today.
Yeah, there's one game I'm keeping an eye on, and you're probably gonna. Well, I don't know if you would know about the Indiana team, but they got Brogdon and Levert, who's starters that are questionable to start this game. And if they don't start this game, then I don't like it. But I don't mind the taking the home dog at plus the 3.5 is what I saw earlier. And what is it now? It's 2.5. So that's sort of one I'm keeping an eye on. I haven't wagered the game, but my numbers come out to 106, 104 Indiana win. So I know it's only a 2-point win, but if you're getting 3.5, 2.5 points and they win the game, then you're in pretty good shape. Obviously a live dog. The other game that I passed on today was Dallas. I like Dallas. They were -2 when I looked at them. Now they're -2.5. The only reason I passed on the game is because the Knicks have been playing a little bit better, but Dallas is a better team. So I scrubbed that one. The games I bet on today, I bet Miami against Atlanta. And my number in that game was Miami, and this is right at the beginning of the day when I opened up the thing and played it. Plus 3.5. I know the number's 2.5 now, I think, right? Or something like that. And I'm okay with that. I think Miami wins the game outright today. And, Miami, they are on 3 days rest here. And this is only the second time they've had 3 days rest. And the first time they had 3 days rest, they beat the team by 25 points. And I'm not suggesting they're going to go beat Atlanta by 25 points, but Atlanta's only 8-9 at home, and they are 15-24 against the spread. This is a team that is in a funk too. I mean, they're 1-3 in their last 4 games. They're 2-6 in their last 8. So I like Miami here with the rest edge. I like Miami with the understanding that this is kind of a bigger game for them in the Eastern Conference. And the numbers that I have come out to Miami wins the game 115-114 in a game that may actually be a little more high scoring than the number shows by just a little bit. So that's a game I bet on. And I'm just going to say this up front. I can't, every time you got your teams that you can't win it. I can't win. Every time I bet against Sacramento or bet on Sacramento, I can't win. That's the game like the other night. I just told you we were ahead by 10. They didn't score for 2.5 minutes and they didn't cover. So I'm going to go at it again. So the Lakers, I got the number at 2.5. What's the number now? 3.5, right? So I'm okay with the 3.5. I got the Lakers numbers wise in a pretty good spot here. Since LeBron James has kind of woke up and started playing again, his last 11 starts, he's scored 34.2 points a game and 9.6 rebounds with an average of 6 assists. And Sacramento is 0-6 in the last 6 straight up, and they just can't play defense. They're 26th in the league against defense. So I like the small favorite Lakers here to be able to win that game. And then the last one that I played is I played Chicago today, and I got them at 1.5. I think the number's 2 now, so not too much difference. -2. And this is I'm going to take a shot at this in a sense of Harden and Irving and Claxton are all listed as questionable whether they're even going to play tonight. And if 1 or 2 or 3 don't play, then that number is going to jump even more. So I wanted to get in early on the game, and I don't really care if all 3 of those guys play. I still think Chicago at home is unbelievable. The Bulls played last night, but they offer I think they won the game by 50 or some stupid number. Was it 80 to 130 or some shit? So they got a lot of rest for the players that needed to rest, and they are 15-4 at home. So I'll take Chicago tonight. So my 3 plays are Miami plus what is it now? 2.5. I got to give them the 2.5.
Miami, yes, 2.5 right now.
I'm taking the Lakers. I guess they're -3.5 now, and I'm taking the Chicago Bulls -2.
And that is Scott Webb's NBA 3-pack. The NBA is kind of, I talk about the halftime call. I talk about the end of the third call. And listen, here's what I say about the NBA. And I'm not anyone that wagers and invests on the NBA. God bless you. Everyone, when anyone is losing or loses a game, the first words they say is, well, it's fixed.
Go to in-game betting. You'll do good.
The fix is in, and I just bring up Donaghy, obviously, because he did some federal time on this. And it's funny. On my Twitter page last night, I just wanted to bring this up very nicely. All right. Well, I'll bring up the Pistons and the Bulls. Okay. End of the first quarter, Bulls 28-27. Good first quarter for both teams. Second quarter, Bulls outscore them 33-25. So at halftime, basically
9 points.
They're up 9 points. Bulls come out to start the third quarter, 17-0 run. Okay, that's number one. And there was one more, and of course I can't find it. I think it was the Golden State. And I know Golden State is a real good team. Don't get me wrong there. But the point is they were down at half, and I think they came out to start the second half like 20-4 or something like that. And so I just want everyone just to follow. Take a look at the halftime score. Take a look at the end of the third score. And the same on those close games where at the end at 3, as you said, you're down 3 points or you're up 3 points. And then the start of the fourth quarter, the opposing team goes on a 13-0 run to start. Or, it's just, it's sports. It's basketball. Basketball is a game of runs. I get all that. But it is also comical when, of course, you're on the other side and you just witness this time and time and time again. That's all.
Well, I was just going to say, I think that the NBA, and maybe more so than college basketball, but the NBA is an awesome in-game wagering vehicle. I mean, this is probably the best way to wager in-game basketball because you're never out of game, and you're also in a spot where you can get great lines because just like what you were talking about, if a team goes out there and scores 17 points and your team scores 0, what the hell you think that line's going to look like? And you got to sit here and keep it in the back of your head. My team's not going to score 0 points the whole game. And they're going to come back and they're going to score and have a run of their own. I mean, 10-5 or, whatever it is. And then you just picked up all those points that you're getting on an in-game basis. And that's where you can make your money in the NBA. What I do and setting up the numbers and all that stuff is all pregame flop stuff. But when you're starting to watch the game and where it kind of comes in, you can set yourself up to really do well. And what's really cool about an NBA game? You can win one side of a run and then go win the other side too, because you can get the run on both sides and you can win because you took the opposite of one side and took the opposite of the other. It's just amazing what happens in the NBA.
Hence Twitch and live streaming, boys. Hence Twitch and live streaming. Closing thoughts, Mr. Webb.
So we're gonna do a closing bell show tomorrow, right? I mean, we're gonna negotiate. We're gonna put that out there, I think. Yes, maybe
Thursday and Friday. Thursday morning we will be Colton from Talking the Line. And Friday morning, we have Bernie Fredo from Fox Sports Radio. And both of those days, myself and Scott will be debuting what we are calling the closing bell. I do not have an exact time yet. I don't know if it will be 4:30, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. We're going to work on that. But yes, that is the goal.
All right. So then what is today? Today's Wednesday. So I put some stuff in the Discord channel here. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 or 6 little slides. I'm working on the Sony Open and I'm working on some golf and I wanted to kind of get some numbers out there and do some things. I'm not in a spot yet where I can go and say, hey, this is where I want to play and this is what I want to do and these are the guys I want to bet on. But I just wanted to have the information available to anybody. And for those of you who don't know, we do have a Discord channel and it's awesome. Anyway, that being said, there's a lot of different things coming. And that was one of them. And then I think I'll take a snapshot of some of the lines. And then when we come on at 4:30, 5 o'clock, whenever that time frame is, we can go, hey, look, this is what was at 8 o'clock this morning. This is what it looks like now. So this is where the money's going. This is where we think you should probably go, which is going to be a different opinion than what we do in the morning. Because in the morning, you're setting yourself up based on what the line is today, but then the market will tell you this is where we're going to go with the market. So then we have to decide, do you follow what the market's doing or do you go against what the market does? And I think that's the whole idea of the closing bell and getting that stuff going. So I'm pretty excited to do that.
Yeah, and that's part of what we do. Okay, so in a quick nutshell here, I'll wrap this up very simply as this is. So overnight, take the snapshot. The numbers will be rolling all through the night, and we get up early in the morning. We get up with a nice cup of coffee, and then we take a look. And then next thing you know, the numbers start moving. So you take a look at the overnight number, and then you see where the sharps came in, and then you will see a number that is released to the public. Okay, and that's usually what we talk about here at the Breakfast Bankroll. But what we are going to do is we're going to take it to the next level, and we are calling it the closing bell. We are going to talk on the closing bell of what those opening numbers were, and now what the market has dictated, and where you should be, or our thoughts where you should be as you get closer to go to the window or go to your app and wager on that. And the full goal, very simply, is this: is the Breakfast Bankroll is what we do daily. The midday market report, which is going to be when you're just grabbing a sandwich or you're on a quick lunch break, a quick 15, 20 minutes to just tell you where those opening numbers are and what we see as a couple of quick movers and shakers that will then lead you to the closing bell. So we are putting a full day of shows and information and education together for 2022 to help you win, grin, and profit, as I like to say.
Well, that's the idea. I mean, the idea is we want to provide things that not everybody does. We want to put our faces out there, get to know us, get to understand we're not going anywhere. We might lose for a whole week or a whole month. I don't know. But the idea is we're not going to go anywhere, and we've done this, and it wouldn't be the first time we've won, and it wouldn't be the first time we've lost, and um, but it runs you through a process of this is what you do. And if you don't have the time to invest like you do, or like I do, or like other people do in this business, then you need to understand that there's certain people out here you can trust and rely on that are going to give you the information you need. There are other people out here that you shouldn't rely on, you shouldn't trust, and you will be able to tell the difference pretty quick.
Oh, I love you, Scott. I love you, Scott. Everyone watching and listening, we can't thank you enough. And if you got 5 seconds, I'm asking for 10 seconds today. Jump on over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors. Subscribe. It's free. Then jump over to Twitch. If you don't have the Twitch app, download the Twitch app. If you are on Twitter, go to @Twitch, and you can just jump on then. That is, if you don't know anything about Twitch, I only learned about it during the pandemic, and it saved my ass. There is so much information. There are so many shows out there. I'm a poker fanatic, and it helps me. I follow a lot of big-time poker players. It helps my brain keep rolling as I'm going through the numbers, and it's a process. And Scott talks about, sports wagering and betting and wagering and investing in the same process, probabilities and your hand versus the other guy's hand, and et cetera, et cetera. There are certain things, in life that, they're exact opposites. They're total different, but they actually work together. And I really like that process, Scott, that you talk about poker and what we do. So get on over there, East Coast Sports Investors. Follow us. Again, we're trying to just build, and build. We've talked about potential TV networks, which is down the road, but I think we might start on Twitch and then go from there. So today, I can't thank Scott enough. Tomorrow he will be a part of the debut of the Closing Bell, and the same is on Friday, and then we will see what's going on for Saturday. So from myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from Scott Webb at Web 20 MLB. We hope everyone has a blessed day. We hope you wager and invest responsibly. And always remember this: when wagering, wager with your head, not your heart. If you have a problem, pick up that phone. There is an 800 number. Ask for help. Why? Because we care. We want you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. So have a blessed day. Stay in your lanes, and we will see you. Actually, I will see you in about 2 hours as I cross the border with Andrew McGinnis from Wager Talk, as we talk some NHL and beyond. And then I'll see you tomorrow as well. So take care. Have a blessed day, and see you soon.